All right, welcome everybody. This is the 2025 MAC League Coaches Meeting for our Rookies Division. This is our first time doing a Rookies Division Coaches Meeting. So give me a little bit of a leeway as we kind of stumble our way through this one a little bit. I've tried to put some stuff together here that I think will help. But definitely, I encourage you to stop me, ask me questions, keep it interactive. We have about an hour here, so we should be done well in advance of that. But feel free to ask questions. My name is Keith Turgeon. I am the president of the Townsend Ashby Youth Baseball League. I am also the league administrator for the MAC League. All right, let's get started. So what is the MAC League in and of itself? The MAC League is a 10-town consortium of towns that all come together to make a common league. It's run by a board of directors that unanimously read, vote, and agree on every single rule and schedule. So if this is not something that's run by a single person or a couple of people. The board has at least one person, has at least one voting person from every town in the MAC League Consortium. So it does a pretty good job. We've been running it for a long time now. So before we get started about this spring, also want to let everybody know this year the MAC League in and of itself is now going to be hosting summer and fall seasons. So if you are looking to have your kids play or coach for the summer or the fall, everything will be done and run through the MAC League this year. The reason this is important, many towns played in the MIB league out of Westford previously, which had a different set of rules. Now you'll have the exact same rules all 3 seasons, which if you played in those other leagues, it can be very, very confusing for the kids. So it's really good that the MAC League is now doing this. Moving on, some new divisions. So officially this year, the MAC League is now running this rookies division that you're seeing here. So right now, it's only a handful of towns that are participating, but we are getting more. We're trying to get more throughout the different league. The MAC League has divisions at every level, and now we even have divisions at both the juniors 15-16U as well as the seniors 18U. What that means is you can have your kids participate and you can keep coaching in the same exact regional program the entire length of youth baseball with a same consistent set of rules, a same consistent set of operations, same towns, same kids. So you'll see the same kids year after year. It's really a great way we've done this so that we can get some better adoption at the older levels. And we're really excited to be able to bring in all the different levels going forward. All right, so important dates about this spring. So all the games will start April 28th. You might not have a game on the 28th, but you'll have a game that week. The games will go till June 20th, which is the final games of the season, at which point there will be an all-star game this year. Important, all weekday games start at 5:45 p.m. this year. If you coached last year, you'll know it was at 6. We moved it to 5:45 because there was a lot of issues with light, and games were having to get canceled early. So we're trying to bump it up a little bit so that the kids can actually have more opportunities to play. The more they play, the more they learn, the more fun they have. So that's our goal there. Real quick about the All-Star Games on June 21st, it will be hosted in Townsend at Craven Field at 3:30 p.m. on the 21st. How this will work is each team will be each team should have an even number of players to send to the All-Star Games. These are recreation. This is a recreational All-Star game. This does not need to be your best player. It can be whatever your town has designated as the criteria for All-Star selection. It could be the kid who tried the hardest, the kid who had perfect attendance. It could be the kid who made most improvement. You make the decision as the coach, working with your town about what the criteria is. I will strongly recommend that if you are planning on picking your own child for the All-Star game, which is very common, make sure you have a really good reason for why you did that, and you tell your parents why you're selecting your kid over their kid as you send out those selections. it will save you a ton of grief, um, especially at the rookie level. So just someone who's been there, just had piece of advice for the coaches. All right, moving on.
Hey Keith.
Yeah,
Hey, quick question. Hi, I'm one of the coaches for Air Shirley.
right.
I It looks like on the schedule that we got, we are playing against Townsend Ashby on the 21st. So it looks like we actually have a game.
April 21st.
Um, June, I think that last,
June.
and I can double
Oh,
check too.
yeah,
But
that was a mistake. It should have said the 21st. Oh, that's the All-Star game. I will check that.
okay,
Good catch.
sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, okay, got it. All right. So what we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about basically some of the rules for rookies. So we will walk through the website shortly. We're going to show you where the official rules are located, but I'm going to give you some of the highlights throughout this presentation. Um, so let's get started. So games not played. So you should only be rescheduling games due to weather. So lack of players or a coach conflict, these aren't necessarily reasons to cancel games. So especially in rookies, you can play, you only have 5 kids that show up at the field, borrow kids from the other team. You know, bring up T-ball players, let them try playing. You can do whatever you want to play these games. There's no records, there's no standings, there's no tournament at the end. So just do whatever you can to get the kids to play the game. Um, so that's really important. You're going to see that even more and more ingrained into you as you coach beyond rookies because we see that it's very important to understand that rule as we go down the road. For rookies, rainouts do not need to be rescheduled. So we schedule, I think, 16 games for every team, 8 weeks, 2 weeks a game. Um, so our goal is that you get about 12 to 14 games per season. As long as you get 12 to 14 games per season, you feel free to not have to reschedule stuff. If all of a sudden, if half your games are being canceled, go ahead and try to talk to their coaches about rescheduling some stuff. We have a bad weather, it snows again, stuff like that. Feel free to reschedule if you want to. You don't have to. That's why we schedule out so many games because it's hard and we think it's just easier to do it this way. But again, you're welcome to reschedule, but you do not have to. Um, so if there is inclement weather, the home team is responsible for determining whether a field is playable. What we say is you shouldn't be contacting the opposing coach any sooner than 2 hours prior to the game. What that means is if the game starts at 5:45, you don't make a call before 3:45 that you're going to cancel the game. Why? Because we live in New England. And because it might be pouring and snowing at 8 in the morning, it might be bright, sunny, and warm at 5 o'clock. It's just how it goes here. We see it over and over and over again. It's very common that some, especially newer coaches, they look at the weather in the morning like, oh, it's heavy rains all day. I'm going to cancel the game now to give my parents plenty of notice. And then all of a sudden, a couple hours later, the weather turns like it always does here, and it's a bright sunny night, and you go, crap, I wish I played the game. So wait as long as you possibly can. So like I said, 5:45 game, don't call it any earlier than 3:45. All right. Some field information. So we want everyone to understand that so you're all going to be traveling to other fields for your away games. The rules of those fields, you have to make sure that you are aware of and that you're following it. So while we are not in a COVID crazy situation right now, if something changes and say one town requires masks at their field, hopefully we're never in that situation again, but let's say it happens, and your town does not require masks, but the town that you're visiting does. Your players would be required to wear masks going to that field. If you don't comply, your team, well, you forfeit. and you wouldn't be able to play that game. Now, again, I understand there's no records, but that is the situation that you wouldn't be allowed to participate on that field. So don't put your kids in that situation. Just be aware of those types of things. Um, the more important things here are some of the rules, like do not allow dogs in fields. Almost all of the fields in the league, none of them allow dogs. Be very careful and tell your parents that. Um, you know, dogs, smoking, vaping, chewing tobacco, drug use, none of those things are allowed in any of the fields. Um, Obviously, alcohol, never allowed at fields. Tell your parents, we know that Yetis are filled with your alcohol. We're not stupid. An umpire, a field representative will come over and smell you. If they think you're drinking, they will throw a parent out. Things to keep in mind. Important thing here to note: if any rule is suspected of being broken, the game needs to be put in this. There's no umpire in this division, but the game will be put on hold until a red or offending rule is rectified. So what does that mean? Let's say someone brings a dog to your field. As the coaches, you need to stop the game until the dog is removed from the property. Because if not, somebody from the league will come in and do the same thing. And just be aware of that. Towns would do this every year. So I had twice last year I had to stop a game because someone brought a dog to the field. So make sure you tell all your parents, don't bring it. Just save yourself, everybody the headache, and just tell them don't bring their dogs. Um, Going on, we ask you treat all the fields as if they're your own. Before you leave a field, clean up the dugout, clean up the bleachers where your family was sitting. Don't leave trash. Don't let your players scribble on other people's dugouts. Um, Respect those other towns. It's important because what those kids do is we're trying to teach them the right things, and having parents that leave trash, coaches that leave garbage all over the dugouts, it's disrespectful, and we really want you to avoid doing that. All right. So what are some of the season goals for rookies? So the overall goal for anybody coaching rookies is that the kids have fun and come back next year. If you have 10 kids on your team and you have all 10 come back next year, that was a successful season. So that's your measurement stick. If all of your kids come back next year because they enjoyed playing, that's a winning season. So use that as your stick of how well you did that year. If you come back next year and half your team is gone, you probably want to adjust how you coach your team. So, um, so part of rookies is it's really about getting the kids to learn how to play baseball. The next level up is minors, which is much more competitive. Their kids are expected to come in understanding the rules and the basics of how to play. So this isn't T-ball anymore. So they need to understand basic rules. What is stealing? What is bunting? Hitting, fielding, backing up. Those general things are really important to teach these kids. Pitching, catching are actually things that are really important to start teaching in rookies. We're not expecting kids to be rock stars, pitchers, rock star catchers coming out of rookies, but they need to be comfortable with the idea of, hey, let me get on the mound and throw the ball. They might throw 1 out of 10 strikes, but that's going to be part of it. And I'll get into more of the pitching in a second, but that's kind of what you really want to do. And the last thing I just say is like pitching and catching is something that we want to do with the kids. Every kid should be taught how to pitch and catch, unless they just say, I don't want to do that. Don't force them to do it, but the more kids that you can get to pitch and catch, the better. If you are unsure of how to teach a kid how to pitch, reach out to your league. They will have help for you. Be careful especially if you're someone who played ball when you were a kid. What you remember from when you were a kid versus the rookie level are very different. So, things like, oh, when I was a kid, they taught us how to throw curveballs and all these other pitches. And kids don't learn how to do curveballs until the big diamond anymore. If a kid's doing curveballs on the small diamond, the coach should be fired. So that's a bad practice nowadays for kids. So talk to your league; they'll give you some really good advice on that. For that. All right. So some of the more specific game and scoring. So you do want to try to keep score, and a winner should be determined. That doesn't mean that at the end of the game, one team says we won. tell your team, you can do it in private with your team at the end. Hey, this is what you scored. This is what they scored. There's no records. It doesn't matter, but you want to start getting the kids used to the idea that there are winners and losers in these games. We You don't have to do it week 1 or week 2, but start to roll it in as the season goes on. Why do we do that? Because when they get to minors, it is competitive, and you will win and you will lose, and it will be on the scoreboard, and it will be very obvious. And I've seen so many kids come from rookies that it's a shock to them, So be very cautious on that. Roll it in slowly, just something to keep them aware of. So this isn't T-ball anymore. So these kids need to start learning about the scoring a little bit. So this last bullet I like one to really bring in. So the games go for an hour and 45 minutes. If you can get 12 innings in an hour and 45 minutes, get 12 innings in. The goal is for these kids to learn. So the goal should be to get them as much playing time as possible. We've seen some years where coaches are like, nope, we hit 6 innings and it was 45 minutes in because you just went bing, 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 bing. Well, what did the kids learn in that 45 minutes? They didn't learn double the time. Game's supposed to be an hour and 45 minutes. That's what parents are expecting. Let them keep playing for an hour and 45 minutes. So definitely do that. Again, the goal is to give the kids more experience and to learn. So the more time they can do that, the better. So don't stick hard on the number of innings. It's really about kids getting opportunities to play. All right, some stuff on offense. All bats, they must be USA bat stamped. They can't say T-ball on their bats. So a lot of kids here are coming from T-ball, and they have bats that are stamped T-ball. They can't be using the T-ball bats. They need to be using bats that are stamped USA bat. Do I know really the good reason for that? No, I don't think there's a safety reason for it, but it is an insurance requirement for all of your leagues. So every one of your leagues has an insurance policy that says this is the bat that these kids are going to use. So make sure that you're following it. Kids need to be wearing helmets when they're up to bat. They don't have to be wearing a helmet with a face mask, but they can if they want. Boys should be wearing cup/athletic supporters. It's really important to start getting them used to wearing them at this division where the danger is a lot less. You're going to still have kids that don't wear them. Don't do the old days where you walk around with a bat and start whacking kids. We don't do that anymore. But talk to the parents, say, hey, this is important for them to be wearing a cup. We don't want any kids to get hurt. When they go to minors, they're going to have to wear it. And don't let any kid that's going to put the catcher's gear on, not make sure you ask them, are you wearing a cup? Because if they're going to catch, they have to have a cup on. That's going to be a hard requirement. Bat all your kids in a continuous lineup. So if you've got 12 kids on your team, you got a lineup of 12. It's not 9 and then substitutes. We don't do any of that. There's no on-deck batters. The reason there's no on-deck batters is because it's too difficult. The coaches are going to be out in the field helping the kids. So having a kid swinging a bat on deck is just going to get somebody hurt, which is why we don't do on-deck batters. These kids aren't old enough to have to warm up enough that they need those swings. So don't worry about getting the on-decks in. Bunting is allowed. You do want to teach your kids how to bunt and how to defend against a bunt. It happens very rarely at the rookies, but you really should teach your kids this. It is a great skill that they will use in minors. So if you can teach it. It's a great skill. There's no stealing, so kids get on bases. Sliding is allowed, not head first sliding. This is feet first sliding. It's really important to start teaching your kids how to slide in the rookie level. They're going to be expected to know it when they get to minors. So the more you can teach them, practice it. I'll tell you, one of the fun things I did is I brought a huge, big tarp with water, and I taught my kids how to slide using a slip and slide. It's a great way to teach kids how to get up, down on the ground, and slide properly. There's sliding mats, do it on the dirt, whatever works for your kids. Have fun with it. Like I said, I used the slip and slide because it was a ton of fun for the kids, and they learned how to do it. So I would definitely recommend it. When players get up and they hit the ball, they can advance up to 2 bases on a hit ball during the first half of the season. After the midpoint, they can advance any number of bases when the ball is hit into the outfield until the fielder throws the ball. So if somebody hits the ball into the outfield, and the kid's like, I can get a home run, and starts going, going, going. He can run 3, 4, he can start running. But as soon as that outfielder grabs the ball and tries to throw it in, as soon as it leaves his hand, they can't go any further. That's that base that they're heading to. That's the last one they can go. So that's the rule there. We added this a few years back. We did it because we wanted to give kids that opportunity to be excited about hitting the ball. I hit the ball in the outfield. Great. I didn't know I could do that. And honestly, if you hit it in the outfield at this level, kids might get a home run out of it. And that is exciting and it's fun and the kids enjoy it. So if they can do it, great. Um, there's no base advancement on errors. So if a kid runs to first base and kids run to first base and another kid tries to throw it to the kid at first and he overthrows them, they don't get any extra bases. The play is dead right then and there. So any errors kill a play. So we don't want to see kids like grabbing the ball and running around, chasing it and doing all these things. That's not what the point of the division is. That's to teach them just getting there and try to make the play. If you make a mistake, you made a mistake. There's no penalty. Pitching. So the first half of the season, it is coach pitch. So the way that will work, coach will pitch from the same spot that the kids will pitch. You'll usually have a kid pitcher standing right next to you. As the coach, lob pitch the ball. We're not throwing fastballs at the players. You're not hucking it at the bum. Just give them something they can hit. Don't get up too close. Try to stay at the same 35-foot distance or the is it 42-foot distance that I think is what this one's supposed to be. Try to stand there. Don't get up. That way the kids see that distance. So you're going to do that for the first half of the year. The way those innings work is every batter will get up once per inning. And then once the last batter is done, the side is retired. Doesn't matter if there's 3 outs, 10 outs, 12 outs, doesn't matter. Everybody hits once per inning that first half of the season. Starting at the midpoint of the season, we start having players pitch. So this is why it's important that you start teaching your kids how to pitch preseason, early in the season, during your practices. It's not optional to have the kids pitching. So we had a thing a couple of years ago where our coach is like, my kids they can't handle that. We're not doing that. So that's against the rules. We're not going to allow that. You have to follow the rules and the kids will pitch the second half of the season. So as the kids start pitching, it's not going to be great. We don't expect it to be great. After 4 balls, swap to a coach to pitch that at bat. When the next player comes up, switch back to the pitcher, switch back to the kid. So give them the flexibility, let them try. If you need to have them step up a little bit, let them step up a little bit. Again, just trying to get them used to the idea, get them to try it. So the way at half ending at the second half of the season will end when there are either 3 outs, 4 runs are scored, or the offensive team is batted all the way through their lineup. We should start calling strikes at this part of the season. And kids, in theory, can strike out. Chances of a kid at that age throwing 3 strikes at the same batter, pretty light. So it's not very often. Each kid can only pitch 1 inning. So try to keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out how many kids you're going to have pitch. And if the kid can't throw it over the plate, give them the chance, but be reasonable. Take them out when it gets excessive and switch it to a different kid. Like I said, be reasonable with the whole thing. There are no walks anywhere during the season, beginning or the end. We're not going to let the coaches walk players. And if we did that with the players, every bat would be a walk. So there are no walks in the rookies division. On defense, you play 10 players, which means four in the outfield. Be important that the 4 players in the outfield should actually be in the outfield, which means on the grass. They shouldn't be in the dirt. They shouldn't be playing infield. Sometimes we've seen kids in the outfield, they run in and take over for a play that's getting thrown to second. That's not you want to teach them that their job is to be a backup, not to be the person that receives the ball. So teach them how to play properly, and teach them how to be backups when they're in the outfield. So I mentioned that catchers should be suited up all season. So you do want, even when the coaches are pitching, you want to have a kid be catching. You might have to have a coach behind them anyway, because they're not going to know what they're doing at the beginning. And they might even not be able to, they'll have a hard time throwing it back to the coach. Sometimes you just have your catcher, your kid try to catch the ball, hands it to the coach behind him, and he throws it to the other coach. You keep it simple, don't make it harder on them. Um, but try to get it whenever you can. So if you can't have it week one, you can't get a catcher back there, make it week two. But really try to get them behind there. So coaches are allowed in the field for the entire season to help teach the kids how to play. This is typically where the coaches live the entire time. So you'll usually I recommend having a parent volunteer that's Corey background cleared, manage your dugout, and then the coaches are on the field constantly, either pitching, catching, working on the field, teaching them how to run. If you talk to your other coach, to the coach of the other team, usually they're pretty good about, hey, if you see my player, you want to show them something, show them something. Because sometimes, you can't see everything and it's okay to help coach. Um, and most coaches usually don't have a problem with that. All right, that's the extent that I had there. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to walk through the website. So this is the Max website. This is macleague.org. You will be receiving an invite to your team on the Max site. I don't think some of you have, but not everybody yet. When you do, this is the site. This is where you'll find your schedule. So actually, the first thing I'm going to show you is up here, if you click on resources, here's the rookie rules. So if you click here, these are all the rules for how the rookie program runs. Okay. So again, this is a fun learning league. So you shouldn't be getting in fights with other coaches about rules. Try to just do your best, let the kids have a good time. But try to use them as a relatively a strict guideline, but one that's not like, hey, you didn't follow this rule, we're going to have a problem. So do what's right for the kids, but try to follow the rules the best you can with the guidelines that we've outlined. So next thing you see, so under teams, you'll see all the different teams across all the different divisions. So basically we've got Rookies North, which is these are the different towns that are in it. I'm gonna pick on one of the Townsend ones since I know that they're filled in. So when you come in here, when you receive the invite for your team, you'll hit the accept button. When you hit the accept button, it's going to ask you, do you want to make your coach information public? You want to say yes. When you do that, you will now see your information show up here on the right. Why is that important? Because when you need to contact another coach from another team, you go to their page and their information is right here. Hey, it's raining right now. Should we have this game? Call them, text them. That's how we do that. So your leagues do not make any decisions about games. It's going to be coach to coach. So you guys need to talk together to make those decisions, and this is where they'll find the information. The other stuff on here, you're going to skip this. This stuff is skipped under staff. You'll see whoever I was given will be listed here once you accept your team. If you have another coach that you want to add, feel free to add it on your own. And then the last thing to show here is games. So if you come in here, you'll now see every game that's on your schedule, where it is, the location, the field. If you have the Crossbar app on your phone, you can get this as an app on your phone and see your schedule and everything there. So let's say you need to cancel or reschedule a game. So if you're going to just flat out cancel a game, you can hit the cancel button here and it'll cancel the game. If you're going to reschedule it, just hit edit. You can change who the opponent is. You can change, we're going to change it to a different field. You can pick a different field. You can, not that you would change the opponent, but you can change the date. You can change the time. And then just hit save and the master schedule is updated. If you do it here and if the other coach has Crossbar app installed on his phone, they'll get a notification right on his phone saying this game's been edited. So the same thing you'll get is if someone else updates the schedule on one of your games. In theory, nobody should be changing any of your games without you being aware of it. So if you see that, let someone know, because that shouldn't have happened. All right. I think that's all I got. So I'm open for questions. What can I help answer? And we'll go from there.
Hi, this is JC from Lunenburg, the Lunenburg Black team. Hi. So it's not my first time coaching, but my first time doing rookies. So I'm glad to be a part of this. But my question is, so everything you just went over, is there a way that we will get like this recording video and an email just in case we want to refer back to it?
Yes. So
Okay.
I recorded this. You'll be able to get as well as the presentation. So under resources up here. So right now you see the 2024 coaches meetings. So this will switch to 2025 after I finish posting all the recordings, and you'll be able to come in here and you'll see one in here for rookies. So obviously last year we did minors and majors. This year we'll have, but it will be similar to this. You'll see the presentation in a PDF that you can download, as well as watch the recording right there.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Keith, yeah. Matt Melanson, part of the Air Shirley program. Couple questions on pitching. I know you just went over, you said about 42 feet. Obviously, use your discretion as to where the pitcher lines up. If they're struggling, move them in a little bit. Is there a pitch count that you'd like to see? Or is it just let's stick to the 1 inning?
Yeah, usually so here's inside. I just opened up the rookie rules. So it is officially 42 feet. You want to try to do 42 feet when you can. The reason you want to try to do 42 feet, because when they go to minors, it's going to switch to 46 feet. So if you cheat on that too much, they're going to be kind of like, it's going to be a big gap when they go to the next level. So try to do it about 42. Now, as far as pitch count goes, we really say about 1 inning per pitcher. If they only threw a handful of pitches, you want them to run a second inning because they can actually pitch. It's not a bad thing. But we try to say no more than about 25 to 30 pitches for a kid this age. So, and these are more guidelines. This is more of a guideline. So we try to keep it about 1 inning, which is going to, at this age, they're going to do about 25 to 30 pitches per inning. So is that what you're looking for, Matt?
Yep, that's perfect. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Anything else?
Keith, it says the 4-run thing. If 4 kids get up, they hit 4 home runs, we're switching. So it's 4 runs, period, end of story. Just making sure.
If 4 runs get scored, you want to swap sides.
Okay, that's just confirming. I know that's what the rules say, but coming from rookies or from T-ball and everybody batting through, I just want to be sure if they score 4 runs right out of the gate.
That's only on the second half of the season. So the first half of the season, everybody bats through. So
got it. Okay, I must have missed that. I got on a little late.
So
everybody bats through for the first half of rookies, and then after that, it's 4 runs or less.
While it's coach pitch, everybody bats through. When it switches to player pitch, we try to make it a little bit more, move it along a little faster, a little more competitive. So they start getting the idea of it.
Got it.
Because I'll tell you, I recommend kids get out of rookie division as soon as they can. So as soon as a kid is capable of moving up to minors, talk to your leagues and get them out of rookies and get them into minors. This is a prep league for getting them to the next level. Because once a kid gets good, they're going to be bored out of their mind in this division. So do what you can to, as soon as you see that they're good, like even if like you're in the middle of the season and you found that you have a rock star on your team and he is bored out of his mind, talk to your league, push him up to minors. It will only help that kid. Even if I've had 6-year-olds that are better than 10-year-olds. And we pushed them up to minors. So you can always push kids up. You can't push kids down. So,
Sure. Thank you.
any other questions?
Keith, one quick one here. I was wondering if this actually happened. I have a high, I don't see this happening much, but if the kids were to do 3 outs, can we work on clearing the bases? And I mean, you still have the kids, keep going for their at bats, but then clear the bases if they do get the 3 outs, just to get them in that mindset. I've overheard a couple coaches talking about it before, last year and stuff.
It's honestly, I think it's a great idea. It's not in the rules. So if before the game you talk to the other coach and say, well, I wouldn't do it for the first half of the year, but during that second half, wait a minute.
It would have to
I
be
don't know
for
if I
the
would-
first half, right? Because they're batting all the way
It would
through.
only be in the first. I don't know if for the first half I would really. I don't know what I would do. Or yeah, if you're talking about clearing the bases and not ending the half, I could see that. It's not officially in the rules, but if you talk to the other coach and you both think that that's a good idea, go ahead and do it. And then what you can do is on the website here, there is, if you go into the, okay, not this one. It's not anymore, but if you send an email, like as you get through the season, feel free to send me an email and say, hey, we got this recommendation. We'd like to change the rule next year. I keep tabs on all that stuff, and then I bring it up to the board next year. Hey, we got this feedback. We'd like to officially change this rule. We change rules every year, so we could definitely change it. But that's one of those ones where if two coaches said, I think that's a good idea, and that's not one of those things that would be like problematic. I would be okay with that if both coaches agree since it's not officially the rule.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Yep. All right. Anyone else? No. All right. So I will call it here. If you still have questions, feel free to email me. If you don't want it, if you not want to email me, feel free to email your league director and ask questions. They can help give you any questions or answers. This rookie program, even though this is the first year in the MAC, Townsend has actually been running this particular rookie program for about 15 years. So it's kind of evolved over the years, and now the MAC has taken over what Townsend originally built. So definitely let me know. My kid was in this 15, 20 years ago. So it's been a while. I know it pretty well. So if you have any questions or recommendations or things you want to change, let us know. We're happy to look to adjust. So, all right, everybody have a great season, and we'll see you then. I'll be hosting the All-Star game, so hopefully I'll see many of you there. Feel free to come by and say hi when you get there. But I'll be the guy running it that day. So have a great season, everybody. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
Keith.
Thanks, Keith.